Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess who with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
Hey everybody, how are we doing on this Wednesday? Hope everybody is doing well. Thanks Hung Hero for getting us started with 20 gifted Squid Pro Club memberships. As always, turn in the chat green. There will be a members only tomorrow. I'm not sure what time I set it up for. I think like 2 o'clock. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look at my live streams. And since I'm in the control room right now, I can't really do that easily. Hope everybody is doing well. So we have today, we're going to read the indictment of Tyler Robinson. That is I have a really hard time calling him a man. Not because of his orientation, that I don't care about that, but because of the actions that I believe he took last Wednesday. We do also have his first court appearance. There was a press conference yesterday, but I listened to it and it literally sounded like they didn't give any more information than what is in the indictment. And since I have a copy of the actual indictment, I figured we would read that instead, because we have some things to talk about, because there has been there's two sides of this that three sides. Let's be honest here. There's three sides to this. And hi to everybody in the chat. I have another stream coming up at 3, and I'm doing 4 loads of laundry today. So I'm going to kind of get through this as succinctly as possible and try to remain on topic as much as possible. So if I ignore the chat, I apologize, but I have to get to this one because my husband just told me your girl Squid is on. I love it. I love it. Things like that bring a smile to my face. And after this past week, we all need to have a laugh because this is just getting ridiculous. Yeah. So we're going to get straight into, before I start bawling my eyes out. No eye makeup today for that reason. That way I don't look like TikTok girl trying to cover my face up or look, have the streaks of I got $5 and derailed again. Yeah, good luck. There's 3 sides of looking at this. There's the court side and the documents and the hearings and paying attention to what's in court. There's the social media side and the fallout, and I still haven't gotten to record that video because I got home late from work last night. My office, or our office, is right next to Baby Squid's room, and Mr. Squid was in there sleeping with her last night when I got home from work. So I don't like to record because apparently my voice wakes him up. I even when I try to be quiet, I wake him up. So with that being said, I don't record a lot when he's asleep. I do most when I do record videos, I record when he's not home. The problem with him not being home is the little is there. So I'm getting we're getting some, you know. So there's the court side, the social media side, which we might get into a little bit today, depending on how we have time. But it's not cancel culture, it's accountability and it's consequences. You can say whatever you want, but if you are celebrating the murder of somebody and you are a doctor who is supposed to take care of people and you're celebrating that association that you work for, that healthcare company might not want to associate with you, and that's not cancel culture. That is code of conduct and ethics policies and social media policies and all that kind of stuff. So when someone says, "Oh, the right's about cancel culture now," it's like, no, we didn't dig 10 years, 15 years ago into a tweet that you said when you were 15 years old and were stupid, or were 21 out on your birthday and drunk. You have the right to say whatever you want, but businesses and entities and employers have the right not to do business with you. Yes, so there will be rabbit holes, but we're going to try to keep them compartmentalized. The third area of this that is piquing my interest is I've seen a lot of experts online talking about conspiracy theories. And TLDR, do I think there was more to this than a 22-year-old? Yes. Do I have some details on background and people supporting him and stuff like that? Yes. However, I will go on record with this now. I have reached out to a creator on Instagram who is a former sniper, because Mr. Squid and I were talking about this, and one of his really good friends is a former sniper. This is not meant to be anything ill will against Charlie with the wound that in the neck, but like people saying that this is a professional hit. Please tell me you've never shot a rifle without telling me. 2 things that make me think that's not a professional hit instantly. And I'm a layperson. I've shot a rifle, but I've never been a sniper, or I've never unalived anybody with a rifle. Going on record with that one now. And I don't want to either. 2 things. Nobody aims for the neck. The boy missed. And I'm sorry, at 150 yards or 160 yards, you should be able to choose what nostril you want to hit, not which area of the body. So, 1, he missed. Unfortunate that he missed and still was fatal, but he missed. Second, when they found the weapon, the cartridge was still in the chamber, which means that he never discharged it. And it's a bolt action. It's not like an automatic that discharges itself. You have to actually open it up and it discharges. He never did that, which means that no trained shooter that I know would leave an empty cartridge in a rifle. They would instantly reload and be ready for the next shot. So, yeah, I've shot 200 yards with a 300 blackout. Look, I mean, and when there's some details about this weapon. It was a Mauser 30-06, Mauser 98 30-06. Very accurate, easy from what I understand, easy to break down. So the people that are also saying that he jumped off the roof and I saw a guy holding like a 2x4 and like, well, this is how long that rifle is. You don't see it's not a hard weapon to break down. Third, I've seen people saying where he got it from. People need to stop buying people rifles. It was passed down in his family. It was his grandfather's. So there's that. Um, there's just there's just so many things that don't add up. Of course, there are so many things that don't add up that make me question. But there's some easily dispelled rumors by experts online, and it's like I don't even have to be an expert. I just have to use critical thinking skills. eh, to dispel some of these rumors myself. Like, I just do I think he acted alone? Possibly. Do I think he acted alone as far as, like, support? No. Yeah, yeah, bolt action rifle, not even relevant to the gun control debate. I know. People are like, "It's an automatic." When someone who wants gun control can describe what a bolt action rifle is to me, then I'll listen. My dad used that for deer hunting. Yeah, and when he was done shooting, he expelled the cartridge and put in a new one. Just my thought process. Plus, no trained professional would have an open roof like that. Just another thought. But, the people that are like, "This was a professional hit by so and so, so and so, so and so," it's not even close to professional. Yeah, it's like, tell me you've never been around anybody who's been trained in how to, it's just yeah. Uh, Duncan, Idaho, cancel culture. Did you tweet something offensive 10 years ago? Fired, not cancel culture. Are you advocating for assassination of people for expressing their views? Fired. Yeah, because if you're a doctor and you're expressing you're happy that someone died, do I really want you taking care of me? Because I don't know what you're thinking. You could prescribe me a medication that could unalive me and go, oh, she had a heart attack as a side effect of this medication that we were giving her for this. Like, no, we're not even going there. Well, and here's the thing too. He said it was a $2,000 scope. Bomb threat at Turning Point USA. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. All right, so we are going to get into this document. And I really appreciate the fact that I have my my hands on this, but I'm going to have to skip his name because it has his address on it, and I'm not doxing his parents' address or his address. It's not his parents' address, but I'm not that kind of person. I might not like the kid, but we still have to respect terms of service and just show respect if we ever expect to get respect. And that's the thing. With this, just like I'm trying to teach my toddler. It's okay to be angry. It is perfectly fine to be angry. Angry is a normal human reaction. However, 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 it is what you choose to do with that anger that defines who you are as a person. I am choosing with my anger to talk about it, talk about the case, talk about the people online and why I think they're shitty human beings and how people that claim to be godly are not godly by claiming someone else to be a false Christian or false this. How do you know what someone excuse you? Who the fuck are you to tell someone else what they believe? Like, the fuck? Who the absolute fuck do you think you are to tell someone else who they believe or who they should believe in or no. Charlie said it best. He said, yes, I'm a Christian, But part of being a Christian is, and he was talking to someone who was anti-gay rights and all that, like truly anti-gay. Who are we to judge someone else? It is not my belief, but part of being a Christian is long suffering and understanding. Not an exact quote, but you know. And hey, Red Wolf, how are you? Yeah, they tried to shut his voice down. All they did was make his voice bigger. Yeah. Mauser 98 was a popular surplus rifle from the 40s that were sporterized shorter for the hunting sports back in the 70s. I think they're not Serbian, but they came from Eastern Europe, right? If I'm remembering my history, weapons history accordingly. But I mentioned Mr. Squid and I were talking about the where he was shot and the fact that unfortunately he missed. And it's like now all I'm seeing is on my Instagram and my Facebook are reels of former snipers saying how Mr. Squid was right. It's just one of those things of like your phone is always listening. It's creepy. All right, let's get to this. Wasn't that a German? I thought it was Serbian, but I know it was Eastern European, so hell, it could be Eastern Germany. I don't know. I I don't actually know. I know what it looks like. Like I could point it out when I see it, and I also know that it breaks down into 3 or 4 pieces relatively easily. So anybody who is trained on how to use it, Mr. Squid could take his shotgun apart in less than, I would say, a minute. So fathoming someone taking a weapon apart quickly so they can stash it or hide it somewhere is not an unthinkable act. So, all right. Hi, beautiful. Would you like a yogurt?
Hi.
Here you go. Can I have a hug? Yeah. You okay?
No.
Okay. You let me know if you need me, okay?
Mhm.
I love you. I too. I too. The state of Utah, by and through Utah County Attorney's Office, charges the defendant with the commission of the following offenses. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah code that I don't read the code numbers because they're right here. If y'all want to see exactly what the code says, we can look it up, but if not, no one cares. On September 10th in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstance. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. I mean, it was a crowd of people. If he would have missed a lot, who knows who else he could have unalived. So this count totally makes sense. Notice, conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah code that a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Oh, there's enhancements. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code 76.3. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. So remember, these are just state. So federal could also charge him with, because of this right here, a violation of Charlie Kirk's civil rights. What all they will or won't charge him with, I have no idea. However, just remember, this is only state. You still have federal to deal with. Notice if the trier of facts finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor, which makes that death penalty option a little more plausible. And Red Wolf, you still have to write me on Discord. If one of my mods could put the Discord or Discord link in the chat, that would be great. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child, aggravating factor. The sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. I believe that's in Utah, that's 14 years or younger, from what I remember hearing. So, hi, M Spire. Thanks for being a member for 8 months. Popping in to say hi. Time zones suck. I know time zones, it's great having an audience that's all over the world. However, sometimes live chats aren't an option for everybody because of being all over the world. You can email me too. Here's my email. There you go. And hi, Andrea. How are you? All right. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, first-degree felony, in violation of Utah Criminal Code. In that September 10th in Utah County, defendant Tyler James Robinson discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm, and the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I believe Charlie was not breathing and his heart stopped before he hit the ground. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's kind of like maybe he felt nothing. If we can be on the positive side of things. Victim targeting enhancement, same thing as above. Intentionally selected Kirk. And then the same notice as above. Once again, see, I'm not reading the double speak. It's an aggravating factor and aggravating factor, violent offense committed in the presence of a child. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of those. Count 3, obstruction of justice, second-degree felony, in violation of Utah Code 76-8. That September 10th, defendant Tyler Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding the conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. All these words that I'm using in here, usually I'm not the type to say send super chats, but there's certain things in here that I'm reading word for word, YouTube. This is not my wording. This is in a legal document that might get me demonetized or throttled back on the algorithm. I have noticed a decrease in views lately since I started talking about this. So there's that. So usually I'm not the super chat type, but if you're feeling ever so kind today, this might be the day. Count 4, obstruction of justice, second-degree felony, same thing, except for destroyed, concealed, or removed clothing that he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Oof. Count 5, tampering with a witness, third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-8. September 10th, Utah County defendant Tyler Robinson believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item, to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. And this shows the lack of insight of a 22-year-old. Metadata, sir. Just because you delete text messages from your phone, it does not mean those text messages are deleted. Have you ever heard of the cloud? This is the lack of plan, like, I say lack of planning, but this is the lack of insight that a 22-year-old has over a 40-year-old. Let's put it that way. Because, yeah. Count 6, tampering with a witness, 3rd-degree felony, same thing. Except for September 11th, Utah County defendant Tyler Robinson, and I'm going to stop using his name because he nope. I believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned the roommate. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor. I did hear that people were all up in arms that Utah considers this a misdemeanor. Playing devil's advocate, or lawyer, is the case may be, playing lawyer, not actually a lawyer. Not actually a lawyer. But I'm not Felisa. No one's ever mistaken me for a lawyer. Generally, when it's safe to assume that when a violent offense committed in the presence of a child, they're already being charged with something else that most likely is a felony. This is an added FU by the state, that we're just going to give you this extra little bit of bullshit right along with it. So I saw people all up in arms in Law and Crimes chat yesterday about this being a misdemeanor, and having some time to process it, because when you first look at it, it's like, oh, why is that a misdemeanor? It's an add-on charge. It's safe to assume that's an add-on charge and not it's just an extra little, extra little snake bite to say, here, get this too. And I got it, Red Wolf. Thank you. Ugh. In violation of Utah Code 76.3.203, 76.3.203, different part, in or about September 10th, Utah County, defendant Tyler Robinson committed. I have no idea what that means. Come here. No. I'm being pulled. Can I have my finger back? Hold on. Let me stand up. I will be back in a hot minute. I apologize for the interruption, but she wants something, and I don't know what ahaho is. It's toddler speak that I can't figure out yet. So grab a drink, grab a shot if it's 5 o'clock wherever you are, and let's go.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light.
guys, thanks for your cooperation and understanding. Aho is apparently Apple. Who knew? But I had to move all her stuff in here because I will not let her eat an apple out of my sight, for obvious reasons, because, the choking risk, and I don't leave my child places where she can choke or get injured. The mom and me. All right. Getting back to count 7. September 10th. The jerk committed criminal unaliving in the presence of a child younger than 14 years old, with knowledge that a child was present and may have seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Not only was his family there with his 2 children, but it was a college. There could have been high school students there. There could have been anybody. So they're more. My assumption would be that this is more because his 2 children were there. But if I were Tyler's lawyer, I would be like, well, how is he supposed to know that his two young children would be there? Well, you could be like, well, anybody in the audience could have been younger than 14, considering Charlie spoke to children all the time. So, victim targeting enhancement is the same thing we read above, based on his political expression. Probable cause statement. Brian Davis of the Utah State Bureau of Investigations, having probable cause to believe that defendant committed the above listed offense, submitted the following evidence in support of the filing of this information. Here we go. All of the details. On September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot and tragically killed while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Counts 1 and 2. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle, nearby. And that's the thing. There's one thing. They found it nearby, which means when he left and he ran, he didn't take it with him, which kind of dispels some of the conspiracy theories that when you saw him jump off the roof, that, oh, he didn't look like he had a weapon. That's because he didn't. Let's put it that way. Over the next approximately 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11th, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, count 3. Discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, count 4. And told his lover/roommate to delete incriminating text messages, count 5, and to not talk to police, count 6. Children were present at the time of the shooting, count 7. Here we go. The shooting, Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, organized a public outdoor event to be held at noon on September 10th, 2025 at UVU. The event was the first in a series of similar events to be held at college campuses nationwide. Mr. Kirk is a well-known conservative activist. I don't like the fact that they used activists. I would say more influencer, but because this to me is a political word. This is just a political word, and this right here should not be political. Oh yeah, I believe some of them are in here. And we're also going to get to some backlash on some people, because reporters are stupid. Reporters specifically an ABC reporter that I'm assuming looks or wakes up in the morning and like looks in the mirror and tells himself how awesome he is and how good he looks and how smart he is, and he's really not that smart. Famous for these type of events where he discusses various political issues and debates with audience members. His events and comments have garnered a significant number of supporters and drawn the ire of many who disagree with his political views. The event at UVU was announced far in advance and garnered a significant publicity and interest. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Every time I go to speak, she tries to talk over me. A clean and jerk complex this morning. We were at 93 pounds. Clean, front squat, jerk. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Mr. Kirk was interacting with the crowd before the event officially got underway. Then, approximately at noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under the portable canopy behind a table and microphone. He began speaking to the crowd and fielding questions from attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used at his events. Mr. Kirk allowed his questioners to approach a microphone positioned directly in front of him. Mr. Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left, as well as some behind his canopy and others at various close locations near him. The large crowd surrounded Mr. Kirk on three sides. Temporary metal fencing separated attendees from Kirk by only a matter of feet. Directly above and behind Mr. Kirk was the UVU Hall of Flags, an indoor walkway spanning several hundred feet with floor-to-ceiling glass windows which overlooked the plaza where Mr. Kirk was seated. People were in the walkway at the time of the shooting. Approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering a question about mass shootings by transgender individuals when a gunshot rang out. My conspiracy theory side, and I don't think it's a conspiracy, but my assumption would be the timing of this question, not that the person asking questions had anything to do with it, but you knew that he was going to be asked about transgenders and shootings sometime. It's kind of inevitable, one or the other or both. And I don't think the fact that he was unalived during a question about transgender shootings when he is dating someone who is transitioning, I don't think that's a coincidence. Don't think that's a coincidence, which makes me wonder if that kid never would have asked that question, if it would have been later in the day that this would have all unfolded. It just makes you wonder, you know? I don't know. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. He slumped to the ground almost immediately. The trajectory passed closely to several other individuals beside Mr. Kirk, including the questioner who was standing directly in front of him. Children were visible near Kirk's stage when he was shot. Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. The medical examiner's report is pending. If I get that, We will be going through it probably in a members only, just because of the nature of it. Not to say that it's behind a paywall and you have to pay to see it, in the sense of that. It's when you do a members only, YouTube is a little bit more lenient on some of the things you can talk about. And I don't know if I would want to talk about some of those things on a regular stream. But that's even if I can get a hold of it, you know. Hey, Frankie's Carnage crew, our government adds any and all possible charges, do any all possible arrests and or tickets to use against people, increase a better plea bargain for the charging party. Honestly, I'm not sure. It right now, from what I've heard lawyers say about this case, it's not that if he did it or not, it's keeping your client alive. Almost like a Koberger situation, this was compared to, in the sense of you don't need a motive. You are pretty convincing that you've got your guy. You just it's like life in prison or the death penalty kind of situation. And as someone said, as a defense lawyer, they would be focusing on how not to get the death penalty. And hey, Mama Shauna, how are you? But that's just what have heard from lawyers who obviously know more than me. But just because that they're a lawyer does not always make them right, as we've seen in some other cases. The UVU surveillance investigation. At the moment of the shot, UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. I'm wondering if I had a map of the place, but when I went to save it, the locations and like the names of the places that people had inserted didn't save. I'm just wondering if this was the only, if he got lucky and went to the first, or he knew to go to that, or that was the only logical place. I do have questions about this. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to lie and say that, oh yeah, I believe what the government says, because I don't. It's just one of those situations where I have to take what they say at face value and then do my own research. So, and hey, Tammy. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing, then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the gravel rooftop consistent with a sniper having lain on the roof. Impressions in the gravel potentially being left by knees or elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. There should have been more security than what there was. I in a way I agree. However, in a way I don't. I think the larger issue, and you might agree with me on this, I'm not really sure, or you may not. To be honest, part of the problem is we've seen it with Riley Gaines. We've seen it with other influencers or activists, and Tammy, he's not the president. They don't have that coverage. I understand what you're going through, but I also I think, and Red Wolf, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have seen it before where other people have asked for increased security because of threats, and the universities have basically told them, F you, you're lucky we're allowing you to speak, instead of allowing free speech. So I think there's like a happy medium there where they can have more security. The university is not affording them more security because the university doesn't care. I don't know if that's the case here with UVU. That is just a general consensus and impression that I've gotten from other influencers, conservative influencers, creators, content creators, podcasters, things like that, who have had threats on their life or their safety for speaking at certain places. And when they were informed the university about the threats, the university said too fucking bad. And I agree. So I hate the death penalty. Seems like an easy way out. Yeah. And we'll get to the Charlie having more security there, but he can only have, because the college is, and here's the other thing too, because a college campus is a gun-free zone, you have to clear it with the campus before you can allow armed security on campus. You have to clear it with the campus police department. And if this is a campus who doesn't support free speech and really doesn't support the Second Amendment, you're kind of fucked. Which is one of the main reasons that he went to campuses that didn't agree with him, so that he could talk to people that didn't agree with him. If you only go to the campuses that are like super conservative, like there's a couple, if you only go to places that are super conservative and you think are always going to agree with you, there's no point because those people already agree with you. Here, he went to places that he knew, like, I don't think he ever went there, but I'm going to use UC Berkeley as a prime example of a campus that nationwide we know that people do not like conservatives there. It's not I saw a picture of it looking like there was something bouncing off of his chest, but I don't know if it was just it could have been anything. It could have been an impact of something else. There's really no way to confirm it. Like, you can see pictures of something on his chest that, because I'm sorry, but a bulletproof vest wouldn't ricochet. Like, it wouldn't ricochet. Like, I mean, I can see, like, I know that these people will never talk to me, but like Brandon Herrera or Grand Thumb. Grand Thumb just tested a bunch of bulletproof glass, and armor like that is not designed to ricochet, it's designed to absorb. Which one of the reasons that even though you're wearing body armor, it still hurts like a mofo. So, yeah, there was that too. So, but I don't think that the shooter, I don't think he hit what he was aiming for. Because I don't know anybody that would aim for the neck. Even self-defense, in a self-defense class, they never teach you to aim for the neck. You either do center mass, generally center mass because it's bigger. But you'll either go for the head or the heart. This is tiny. It's a tiny target. Like, I'm not telling people how to do this by any means, but like when you go to the range, you never try to aim for here. There's a target here and there's a target here. It absorb and spread energy across the vest. Yeah, that's why even though it may save your life, it's still gonna hurt like a motherfucker. Yeah, this one's hitting me hard. This one just hits different. This one just hits different. All right. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing across the railing from public walkway and drop onto the roof approximately 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area of the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped onto a prone shooting position. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. This discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51, the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black t-shirt with an American flag in its center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with a very little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. No. She wants to get in my desk drawer and I'm not letting her. No. Come here. Come here. Oh my goodness. Nope, you're still not getting in there. The suspect walks with a little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing off the open walkway and onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. And why in 2025 you have anywhere that's not on a camera? I just can't. Like, you can play with it, but please do not hit my mic. I don't think he was wearing a vest because I don't think he was scared of death. And if he was wearing a vest and people knew that he was wearing a vest, it would show, and it would give the left a talking point on why he was scared. And it would just be a thing. So yeah, we are in 2025 and still security cameras still give shitty images. Yes. Are you sleepy? You want to get down? You can't, girl, you can't hang there.
Mommy?
Angel? You want a cookie? We don't have any. We don't have any. She's trying to get all this stuff out of my drawers like I'm hiding stuff in there from her, and I'm not. I just don't want all my stuff. Angel, I love you, but we can't go through mommy's drawers. You ready? You want to get down? Okay. Bye. Bye. She dropped something underneath the bookshelf and was upset. The camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose shape is consistent with a rifle. The suspect is then seen climbing down the roof. He appears to drop the item as he was carrying as it hits the ground in a controlled fall. And he then picks up the item and runs toward the northeast end of campus. Being a stay-at-home mom is fun because she's literally talking about her pad that's sitting right next to her and yelling at me like I'm supposed to like unlock it. It's like, well, bring it here. bring it here. Zach, you were looking. Just kidding. Expanded crime scene investigation. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast end of campus, where they believe the suspect left campus and entered a wooded area. In that wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time of and immediately after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto-loading weapon. Only a single round was fired. It only takes 1. Each round of the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows. Fired cartridge, no tice is bald, OWO, what's this? Second cartridge, hey fascist catch. The people that are trying to silence speech, it's interesting because they don't know the definition of a fascist. It's one of those situations where it's like Randy Weingarten, the freaking former or current head of the teachers union, is writing a book about how fascists don't like teachers or something like that. It's like, does she not, the person in charge of our education system in the US does not know the definition of a fascist? When you don't let people speak their mind, when you silence speech, when you control the media, when you silence opposing views, that is fascism. That's exactly what she did in 2020. But what do I know? Hey, Lady Jen. Based on the messages, he thought he got away clean. It wasn't until the media reports of rifle found that his text changed. Yeah. I believe there was some people behind this that encouraged him to do it. However, I don't think that anybody was helping him necessarily in his planning, because certain things that are, more powerful people might have said, yeah, go ahead, do it. Go ahead, do it. But nobody, I believe, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, nobody helped him plan it, because certain things are have you not watched anything, any TV on any crime shows, CSI, anything on how to not get caught? Just a thought. Hey, Heather. Good morning. This assassination has truly changed many people. I see a lot of cherry picking of the debates. Charlie held that supposedly support claims he was a horrible person. Yeah, I've posted videos all over him, and I'll post them to the Squid Facebook page. But I've posted probably 25 videos on my Facebook of just what people said and then what he actually said. Third cartridge, oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao. Some people have said that's a gaming thing, but I also know that as an Italian anti-fascist song from the 30s or the 40s. And fourth cartridge, if you read this, you are gay. LMAO. Well, the pot meat kettle, literally. The rifle, ammunition rounds, and towel were sent for forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger. Other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. One thing I will say about this is this has gotten national and international attention because it was Charlie Kirk. But do you notice how long it takes for other cases to get DNA back? Months. They got DNA back in less than a week. This just means that, yes, this is a national case and Charlie was an important figure in the world. However, this right here is if they wanted to get shit done faster for other cases, they would. They just don't have to, so they don't. Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from UV surveillance cameras and asked the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. Washington County investigations. On the evening of September 11th, law enforcement continued their investigation of Tyler Robinson, went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. And this is where it got a little convoluted. There was rumors about, and this is another thing, there's a lot of misinformation that goes around when something originally happens. And that's why I don't really like to talk about it right away, because there is so much this, she said, he said, this, he did this, he did this, he did this. I like to wait and see what the reports say to what actually happened, because there were reports that his dad was a sheriff's officer. There were reports that he went to a priest. Like, this is what happened. The person that his parents asked him, or his dad asked him to talk to, the family friend, was a retired law enforcement officer. That's the connection. It wasn't his dad that I'm aware of. But there were rumors. So now you have people that were like, I don't believe anything because I heard this, I heard this. It's like, yeah, you heard that initially because the rumor mill gets started. And that's why I like to wait for the documents. Because these documents are supposed to be held up in a court of law. So I don't think, unless it's some super deep conspiracy, that the government would lie about basic facts. Yes, hey Gail, so many different things said. And it was like, when I'm listening to it, and now I hear people making videos, mostly not so much YouTube, but Instagram and Facebook Reels and TikToks. But mostly Instagram and Facebook is where I've seen it. Everybody's a fucking firearms expert now. It's like, I'm not a firearms expert. Mr. Squid is more of an expert because he was an instructor for a while. I mean, most of the things I learned about shooting, I learned from him, especially hunting. He taught me how to hunt. Sorry, Pop Squid, I know you're listening, but you're not a hunter. Just never been into that. However, Mr. Squid's friends with a lot of people who like to shoot long distance rifles. We're talking like actual, like a Shy-Tech. Like we're talking, things that only can be shot certain places. So I asked him about this, and he's got people who he talks to, so he knows more than me. And I asked him. I've reached out to a couple former snipers. I doubt I'm going to hear anything back, but hey, no pun intended, I had to shoot my shot in the sense of reaching out to people, because I'm never going to grow and learn if I don't reach out to people. And if I don't go, well, I'm too scared to try to talk to this person, or I'm too scared to reach out to this person. What's the worst they can tell me? No. Yeah, I used to keep my mouth shut, but not anymore. Me too. And I've lost some subscribers because of it, but it's like, if you are championing this, I've lost some friends on Facebook because of it, but it's like, if you were championing or celebrating someone dying solely because of what they thought, who's to say that you won't unalive me for thinking differently than you? And I'm like, those are the type of people where I'm like, the trash takes itself out, Ugh. Huh. Robinson's mother stated the following to police, September 11th, the day after the shooting. Robinson's mother saw a photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was homesick and that he had also been homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. And I do appreciate that they're leaving the parents' names out of this. So the parents don't get any hate for it. But I'm wondering if some people on the left, and even some people in my comment section, that said, well, it was a right-wing extremist, right-wing. You want to fucking apologize now? You want to fucking apologize? Because you want to fucking apologize, because I'm sorry. no offense in profiling, but a gay furry who's dating a transgender person does not sound like a right-wing extremist to me. Just putting it out there. Not to profile, but Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. The person who said, well, he was raised by Republicans, that don't mean a flying fucking shit. Adults think for themselves, generally speaking. There's some groupthink, but just because someone's parents are Republican doesn't mean they are. My mom, for the longest time, was a Democrat. My dad is not. What happens if you have a parent of each? How do you explain that? It's just, oh, yeah. Oh, it's yeah, it was like South Park called him a master debater. It's just one of those situations of like, this is why we wait for more information before we fucking open our mouths and talk. Before you start spewing shit. You wait for more information. Because the people who were like, well, it's a right-wing extremist, that didn't fucking age well now, did it? And instead of, well, better to keep your mouth shut and look like a fool than open your mouth and let everybody know that you are. Gail, you notice how they stopped talking about the Minnesota shooting of the political of the Minnesota state senators? Because even though they were Democratic elected officials that were tragically unalived, the person who did it confessed to it that he did it because of Tim Walz. Maybe not with Tim Walz's like blessing, like, hey, go do it, but he did it because of the rhetoric from the further left, so that a moderate left was not left enough. And what is it? Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, had his house burned down or an arson. The person who did it, you know how you never hear about that shit on the news anymore, because the person who did it said that he did it because he sides with, or he's going against his pro-Palestine brothers or whatever. And I know little to next to nothing about all the intricacies of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, so I'm not even going to get into that. But a person on the left, just because a person on the left is attacked, doesn't mean a person on the right is the one who did it. This is where we have the problem, because this is where everybody assumes, and this person called, well, Trump, I'm pretty sure Trump had way more information a lot sooner than the rest of us. So, considering he was really good friends with Charlie, and I'm sorry, like, when you have the ability to text someone every day, like when the president texts you on an almost daily basis, I would say you're friends. That's not a Mr. President, Mr. Kirk. That's a Donald and Charlie. Like, it's just, yeah. Both those had just voted to pass a Republican bill, so clearly independent-minded moderate Democrats. Yeah, and it's one of those things of like, yes, there are evil people on both sides, and one political affiliation does not necessarily make someone evil. However, the statistics in the news and major headline problems seem to lean more to one side because you didn't see anything burn except for candles. The only thing you saw was candles, candlelight vigils. Uh, so you didn't hear anything burned down. You didn't hear about buildings getting broken into, businesses looted. No, you heard candlelight vigils, candlelight vigils, candlelight vigils. Like, so it's like we are not the same. People on the left, and usually I'm like, I don't care what people's politics are, but in certain aspects, it's like, stop. Stop with the rhetoric, because calling someone evil and calling someone a Nazi, y'all caused this. Y'all caused this. So, like, when you call someone a Nazi and a fascist when you can't even give the definition of a fascist, that's a problem. That's a problem. Like, and when you're preaching that words are violence, this is what yeah. And it's okay to be mad, but like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's what you do. Anger is a natural human emotion. Anger, sadness, frustration, but it's what you do with those emotions that determines the kind of person you are. It's sad that this is a teaching moment for my toddler, and my toddler understands this more than most adults. So stupid. All right. Especially between Robinson and his father, who had very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. I'm pretty sure if you ask him what that means, he won't be able to give you examples, because most of the time when they name call, they can't give you an example. All they can do is name call. Or they give you a 5-second clip out of like a 15-minute conversation. That's always the fun one, too. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. Yeah, because he didn't have it. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. He implied that he planned to take his own life. That's why he was in the turtle suit. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. This is another reason why I don't think the death penalty is a good idea. For some people, I think it's a good idea. But when people want to self-delete, it's like, no, bitch, you're staying here. You're staying here. like you're staying here. Yeah, for a while it was here too. I would say until the last, like, I would say until Governor Youngkin got elected in Virginia and turned Virginia back to red as far as the governorship goes. Because that was a thing in Virginia about parents' rights and school boards and shit like that. And when you pissed off the moms, yeah, don't underestimate the moms of the world. But I'm generally, the death penalty is a toss-up for me. Sometimes I feel it's appropriate, like the Oklahoma City bomber, Timothy McVeigh. Felt that was totally appropriate. I watched that on TV when I was a kid. However, this guy, because he just wanted to end it, I believe the death penalty would be too easy for him. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all the evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. They're probably still going to search that home anyway. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. The roommate. I go back and forth with death penalty because I think for some reason they're afraid of the death penalty because they always want it taken off. I think staying in jail for life would be worse. Yeah, it's just one of those things of like, it's a, I use, and I've heard Gosney talk about the money aspect. Is it really saving money with all the appeals that you automatically have to go through versus life in prison? It's just kind of like, I believe some people are not capable of being rehabilitated, but it is a case by case basis. It's not just if you unalive somebody, we'll unalive you back. Like that's too simple and too not nuanced enough of an argument. It's very that's the thing. That's the thing I always talk about on this channel is this world is not black and white. This world is a giant gray area. And a lot of these things are nuanced, and that is a huge one. But because of the fact that he wanted to unalive himself, I'm okay with him staying alive because that is a form of punishment to someone who wants to be dead. You know, a biological male who's involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. Roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. On September 10th, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. Two stupid things. Why did he? This makes me think that was a suicide note. That he didn't intend on getting away with getting away with stuff, and I think that was a suicide note. There you go. I probably just lost my monetization for this stream by talking about that, but at the same time, it had to be said, you know? It it's a very difficult topic, and I could literally do a stream on this every day and not, yeah. Yeah. Mm. I It's hard no matter which way you look at it. I can't imagine it's easy for the parents to realize that your son did that. The following text exchange took place. After reading the note, responded, "What? You're joking, right?" This is where the ABC News and specifically that one dude that probably thinks he's a lot better looking than he really is. Oh yeah. This is deeper, but I don't think it's I think it's a grassroots kind of deeper. I don't think it's a governmental deeper, if you know what I mean. Like I've heard some people say. The text message chain was something else. There have been comments the roommate should have spoken up sooner. Hard to say how that roommate feels. Yeah, there's also been ABC News has romanticized it. I can't remember the name of the person who did it. ABC News reporter. What the heck's his name? If anybody knows the name of that stupid reporter from he put an apology on his ex, but that doesn't mean a damn thing. Ugh. All right. From Robinson. Oh, I'm still okay, my love. I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long till I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. I truly no, that was the MSNBC guy. This was a guy who said on live TV that the text messages were sweet or something freaking sick like that. Um I haven't. I've been looking at the people who um I've been looking at the people who have been getting fired, and I was going to try to record a video on that, but I might just do a live. I don't know. Yeah, once again, I'm sure just like Stephen King, this person is not actually sorry. He's just sorry that he got backlash. So, it's reporter refers to Texas suite. Oh, touching. Matt Gutman. Calling text from Charlie Kirk assassination suspect very touching. What? What? Huh? The fuck is wrong with you? Way to romanticize a murder. This is not a novel. This is not a Lifetime movie. This is freaking real life. And I think that's the problem is people, I heard it today. People live their life opposite of the Matrix. In the Matrix, they were plugged in to the real world. Here, our bodies are in the real world, our minds are in cyberspace, and everybody thinks it's a freaking game until it's not. You weren't the one, right? The one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I've had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. That phrase right there should scare everybody in this world. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back my grandpa's rifle. This is where people are like, well, he's talking so nonchalantly. Because I seriously think he thought he would get away with this. Like, I seriously think, I can I go live when the hearing on Capitol and Congress with Discord, Reddit, etc. about this murder? I can see. It really all kind of depends. I've seen criticism that he was so worried about the rifle. Well, when you think you're going to get away with it, and one of the ways you're going to get away with it is having the rifle like nothing ever happened. Because it was his grandfather's, like, I don't know if it has a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me because it would trace to whoever bought it from the FFL. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? I unalived somebody with it. Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. They always do. Well, sorry, but someone's mods always moderate their chat too. So, a little too much. So, remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I notice bold UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a 2K scope. Yeah, that right there was how I know he missed. Like, that was the confirmation that I know he wasn't aiming for the neck. With a $2,000 scope, you should be able to pick which nostril you want to shoot through. Just saying. That on a weapon that was yours, that should have been sighted in if you've shot it before, like, it's kind of one of them situations where it was like, this is the other clue that he missed. He probably bought it. I mean, it's not that hard to buy a scope. You can go online right now and buy a scope. We bought a spotter scope online. Yes, I have a spotter scope. I can literally see a license plate of a car a ways down the block. By the way. And this is how I'm convinced that this is another reason that I'm convinced this wasn't a professional, because you would never hear this stuff. Like, no. Like, this is an untrained, random, not random in the sense of like, I'm sure there's a group of people, because there's a group of people that we will be talking about in a later stream, that call themselves a certain thing, that have a Discord server and all that. However, as far as it looks, there's only maybe 1 or 2 people in that group that have actual training. The rest is like a homegrown. It's like the Stepford Wives terror cell, so to speak. None of them have formal training. They're just all kids and people pissed off and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna say anything, but by me not saying anything, that's me saying something. Yeah, if my 300 blackout can go to 400 yards accurately, I'm sure a 30-06 can go a lot farther than that. Which means that he also wasn't very comfortable with distance, and that there's little things like, if you've never shot a rifle before, I'm not an expert by any means, and there's probably a bunch of shit that I'm missing. But these are just common sense things that I can tell based on my own personal experience, that I'm like, the distance. Note to self, squid sees all. Yeah. We have a spotter scope to go with the Lapua. We have a Lapua 338. So we have a that thing comes up to here on me, man. I'm like, I have a Vortex DBC about $450, and I can hit a quarter several times at 200 hard yards, and I only shoot it twice a year. But it's also probably sighted in too. Just But there's just so many things that are like it shows me that one, he's a stupid kid. And that's the problem with he's 22. His brain is not technically going to be fully developed for another 3 years, which is another thing that makes the death penalty a little more more difficult, more harder. My English, dude. It Yep, it's not mine. That one belongs to Mr. Squid, but it's in the safe that contains all of our stuff that we lost in a boating accident last week. In addition to all the other negative crap that went on in this house last week, we lost all of our safes in a boating accident. Just saying. Delete this exchange. This is the charge. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released the photo of the rifle and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got in office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. For some reason, I don't believe. Probably his dad probably has a t-shirt and a hat. That's it. It's tragic. It's tragic how many pew-pews have sunk in lakes. Mine did also. When I'm done reading this, Snipe Hunter, remind me to tell you a story of almost losing a 12 gauge in a river. We almost lost it in a kayaking accident. Not me. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors is here, is a deputy for the sheriff's. You are all I worry about, love. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. I mean, that's probably the best advice that anybody could ever give anybody. Don't answer any questions and get a lawyer. It's a giant joke. We hunt out of kayaks for duck, and Mr. Squid fell out of his kayak. You're in a cold river and almost lost his pew-pew on the way down. But he managed to get it and not get it too bad. But it's a waterfowl gun, so luckily it's set up for getting a little more adjusted to the elements than your average, like, upland. I'm reading comments that say this is fabricated because 20-year-olds do not text like this. I'm curious what everybody else's feelings on this are. Well, here's the thing. He just analyzing these texts, taking into account the situation, adrenaline, probably freaking out because his dad is not. He's not only freaking out that, okay, I can't get away with this if I can't get the gun back because my dad's gonna wonder where Grandpa's gun went. But now his dad is asking him for photos, which asks him, which heightens it, which heightens that adrenaline. You know, when like the 5 minutes before, like you said you were gonna get all this shit done today, or you've got family coming over for dinner, obviously a hypothetical and not the same situation, but like you have that like, oh shit, I got to get this stuff done. Secondly, people call each other by pet names all the time. I've never called Mr. Squid unless I either really need his attention or we're fighting. There's this too. The thing that I don't think is talk to text is because there's punctuation. But and if he said right now, you know, like the things, but here's the thing. You have 20-something-year-olds are not like the 20-something-year-olds of has been before technology. My 3-year-old is sometimes better with an iPad than I am, and I'm 40. Well, I got a week left of being in my 30s, but I'm almost 40. Like, also, I'm straight. I don't know the in and outs of a gay man's relationship with a transgender person. I don't know the ins and outs of how they speak to each other on a daily basis because that's out of my element. Not even going to assume. So, for the people who were like, this looks staged, no teenager or no 20 something talks like this. One, it's 2025, not 2004. Um, one, secondly, just committed a major felony, a capital offense. It, you don't know how your brain is going to react to something tragic or traumatic until it's done. He's thinking he's going to get away with it, so he's probably a little nonchalant in the how he's texting because he thinks nobody's ever going to see these text messages because no one will ever find him. They might find the weapon, but they can't be traced. The only thing that he's worried about with the weapon is that his dad is going to be upset that he no longer has it. So it's, yeah, that's true too. You have to consider this as transcribed text. They have original text and evidence. But I usually don't take the government at face value, but until we have evidence that shows us otherwise, we kind of have to. Just like in a civil case, you kind of got to take the evidence at face value until you're provided with other evidence. But you never know how you're going to tell me how you would text somebody when you think you're going to get away with murdering somebody. Let me know how you like, I'm not, hey Joe, I'm not trying to point you out specifically when I say you, but like just in general, y'all let me know when's the last time that you unalived somebody and how you responded afterwards. That's my response to people who were like, well, this is 100% fake. I'll believe you if you can provide me with some evidence. To this date, no one can provide anybody with evidence yet. So, yeah, they searched his residence. During the search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home, meaning he practiced. Count one. We went through the counts. We're not going to go through the counts again. Obstruction, because they described what the counts were pertaining to in the count itself. So this is just repeating. The witness tampering is asking the police to ask questions, ask for a lawyer, and stay silent. This one, I don't know if it'll hold up. Because honestly, telling someone to ask for a lawyer if the cops talk to you, I don't know if that's witness tampering or not, because that's just sound advice from a friend to a friend. I'm just a well, and that's true too. He was raised Mormon. They speak differently than normal brain dead 20-something. That is also true. It's yeah. So this is a Utah County attorney. So that's that. Anybody want to see his initial court appearance? Because we've got it. Let's see if I'm still monetized. Oh, how? I don't know. How? I don't know. But if you want this information out there, share this stream. Help me with the YouTube algorithm, since YouTube is not kind to people who stream about things that they don't like. So this was a whole press conference. They did the press conference earlier. They actually did this press conference when I was live yesterday. I just chose to talk about other things because I had my time of breaking news and like having to watch it live. There's a time and a place, and it was like I just didn't feel right. So, but we will get into this. I have it going a little faster because, you know, we's that kind of people. Let's see if I have my sound on. Here we go. I got close to where they started, but I didn't want, usually if I go too close, I get, you know, that like if you get too close to the situation, I start to
My name is Judge Graff. I will be handling the first appearance calendar today. At the conclusion of the hearing, for the first case, the court will take a recess and remind all those who are scheduled for the first appearance calendar to log back in 15 minutes after the court has taken a recess. As a general note, no electronic usage is allowed unless pre-approved. Any disruptions will be removed. To the jail, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Calling case 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Scortis.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. You're probably already aware of my presence or why I'm here, but if not, I am not entering an appearance. I'm not counsel on this case. I'm working with the county to get counsel assigned, but we need you to allow for the appointment of counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Scortis. I want to go through the qualifications
Absolutely.
for indigency, but that is my intent, Mr. Scortis.
Very well.
And I thank you for being here. So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you. I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule 8 qualified attorney to represent you on your case, Mr. Robinson. Along with their filing of their appearance of counsel, the assigned attorneys must file declarations with the court that outline their qualifications under Rule 8 and Rule 8C, under Rule 8B and Rule 8C for counsel appointment in a case where death may be a sentencing option. I'm ordering that those declarations be filed prior to the next hearing.
Oh yeah, that is true. I don't know if some of you, especially the people who aren't from the US, know that, but when you're in a death penalty case or a case where the death penalty could be applicable, you need a attorney who is qualified to handle a case like that.
Date, which is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. Mr. Robinson, I also wish to inform you of your rights against self-incrimination. Anything that you say in court today could be used against you, and we want to protect your constitutional rights. Mr. Robinson, at this time.
Not like you gave a shit about Charlie's, but, you know, that's neither here nor there.
You will remain in custody without bail.
Such a bitch.
Mr. Scortis, is there any other points that you wish to address?
No, thank you very much, Your Honor.
Turning to the state.
Yes, Your Honor. Chad Grunander for the state. I'm also joined, and they're listed as attendees, Ryan McBride, Lauren Hunt, David Sturgill, and Chris Ballard. We are the trial team on this case. I do have a few points I'd like to bring up with Your Honor. We have filed a pretrial protective order on behalf of Erica Kirk. We would ask the court to review that. It should be in your queue, Your Honor, and sign that.
Thank you. I have reviewed the pretrial protective order and will be issuing this pretrial protective order in favor of Erica Kirk. Is there any other business that we need to address today, counsel?
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently within the last few minutes a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file. Lastly, I would just indicate to the court and to, at this point, Mr. Robinson, that we are prepared to collect all of the discovery in this matter and get that turned over to the defense as soon as possible. Rule 16 requires us to provide what we have relied on in charging the information and bringing these charges within 5 days once it's requested. So that'll be prepared to disseminate to the defense as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Grander. Mr. Robinson, what I also want to do is you have the right to have the charges read that you stand charged of, and I wish to read those to you at this time. Thank you.
Look at that face. He's just stone cold.
Mr. Robinson,
Like, he does
for
not give
count
a
one,
shit.
aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years that may be for life. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-11-210 sub 2 and 3C, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm and that the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor. The sentencing judge or the Board of
Thanks for being a member for 6 months. Thank you, Squid, for the stream. Have to go now. See ya. Yeah, and not good with names. This is just the reading of his charges at his initial appearance. This is the up top right is one of the prosecutors, and that is our that's the face of the person who changed the world forever.
Pardons and Parole shall consider an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent offense in the presence of a child. Count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or pursuant to any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, conceal or remove the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or a first-degree felony. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, with an intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Count 5, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-508, in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Count 6, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-8-508 in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County. The defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if the police questioned the roommate. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.10 sub 2 and 76-3-203.14 sub 3a little double I in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County. The defendant, Tyler James Robinson, committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years of age, with knowledge that a child was present and that may have been seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2, Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. That concludes reading the information. Mr. Robinson, this case is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. It will be a waiver hearing, and I will be the judge assigned to this case. Mr. Robinson, I invite you to join us at that time. Is there anything further, counsel?
No, Your Honor, we'll have counsel appointed by then. Thank you.
Mr. Granger, anything further?
One item, just for clarification, Your Honor, the hearing on the 29th, is that in person or WebEx?
Thank you. That is a great question. It will be via WebEx.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right. I want to thank all parties for being here, and this concludes this hearing at this time. Court is in recess.
All right.
That just like, I am not a body language expert by any means at all. I don't claim to be, but you just know certain things when you see them. And the emotionless and the callousness, like if you've ever heard a profiler or like the behavioral panel, like Scott Rouse, if you've ever heard him talk, and he did a video on this. I didn't watch it yet, but I'm going to. But he always talks about trying to make that face with where the corners of your mouth turn down. That takes effort. That takes effort. That is not like a, here, let me remove this. This, like, I can't even do it. Like that. It's not a natural movement. So whenever you see the corner of somebody's mouth turned down, that's an effortful act. That's a purposeful face. That's not just an RBF. It is just one of those things that it's like you kind of look at shit and you're just like that. You just know it emotionless and callousness and like evil when you see it. Like you don't generally want to say that, but like you can tell when someone's hiding emotion versus when someone has no emotion. And even when, like, all he did was little head nods to the judge. When he was looking left to right, his eyes moved, but his head did not. Like, if I was looking at the other screen, I turned my head. He just went, and it's just creepy. It's just, didn't Texas put in an express lane? How am I going to sleep at night? Like, we'll try. There's certain things that are like, you can tell. One of two daughters were there with mom. I thought that his youngest child was a boy. So, and this is about like I listened to a couple of those lawyers talk, and this is more of about keeping your client alive, because denying that he did it at this point when he confessed, it's this is where you paper the court like Brian Koberger with motions to get something on appeal. Be it is hard to get all or the death penalty on any case because you need all 12 or however many jurors there are to be unanimous. There's not a yeah, he's been sleep deprived since arrest, naked with nothing but the vest and a hole in the floor for a toilet. Well, that's a him problem, not a me problem. But these two comments back to back, this one and then this one, or wait, these two back to back. Yeah, their son is one. So it's sad. This one and this one, like just those comments back to back are interesting. Yeah, I saw a post comparing the afterwards of George Floyd's death, burning down and raging mobs, versus Charlie's death, people gathering in prayer. It really hits hard and opens eyes. And you can tell, and I mentioned this on Saturday night, but like you can tell that the left and the media left doesn't believe their own bullshit, because if they believed that Republicans and conservatives were as evil as they want to make us out to be, why weren't cities preparing for violent unrest? Why weren't police departments planning on protests and riots? And you didn't see any police and riot gear at any of these protests or any of these vigils. You didn't see police and riot gear, did you? You just saw the normal police presence for a normal large gathering, like you would get at any concert, festival, carnival, like, just a large gathering. You didn't see the increased police presence like you would if they were expecting violence to break out. Yeah, I have the tendency to get RBF when I'm in deep thought or not feeling well. People will think I'm mad at the world and want to do harm. Oh, Tammy, when freaking Spawn first started coming on this channel and he would be talking and I'd just be sitting here actually listening, I would get comments like, and especially when Spawn was going through that time where people were actively talking about him on their channels every day, whether it be the anti-what the Hales or the other haters, where they would be like, he's interrupting you. Don't let him interrupt. Like, why? He's talking over you. And I'm like, trust me, one, he's not. And two, I have RBF. Like, I look like I'm angry even when I'm not. And you think I have RBF? Mr. Squid has worse RBF than me. Even I look at him and I'm like, are you okay? Knowing that he's fine. And I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? He looks at me like, why are you asking me these dumb questions? So I have the tendency to be RBF. Yeah. So yeah, it was just one of those things where I would get constant comments like that when he would first come on this channel. Now it's like, now it's like, I interrupt him, he interrupts me. But here's the thing also that I always tell people that you don't realize, like you see it with Megan and Tug too. Not as much because they've been doing it for a lot longer. But when you get people on a panel, or at least 2, 3, who are used to holding down, I've been at this for 2 hours doing all the talking myself. When you get 2 or more people who are used to holding down 2 to 3 hour streams by themselves, that you get people, and the slight delay in when 2 people start talking at the same time, it looks like they're start talking over each other when it's like, no, they're not. We just don't like dead air. So anytime you see a panel with 2 or 3 and you see people talking over each other, Most of the time they're not. And it's one of those things where I didn't realize it until I started streaming. And then I was like, oh, the slight delay with technology. Then you get people who are used to talking for a living. Talking at this, whenever you hear quiet, like I have pauses, but you can see my face. When Spawn pauses, you can't see his face. So it's like a dramatic thing. But, it's if we saw you do it and you said you did it, skip the trial. See, and that's there's a problem with that though. It sounds good in theory, and our emotional, and this is where we can't be emotional even when we want to be. And this is how, even though you want to be angry and you want to go, well, people confessed, or we saw it on video, or we did this, he's constitutionally afforded the right to a trial and the right to an attorney and the right to defend himself. Here is the problem. Yeah, it seems like it's kind of open and shut for this case. However, one, he might reveal information that we don't know yet. Secondly, that's your constitutional right. And even though we all think and we all know he's guilty and he confessed, if it can happen to him, it can happen to you. And that's one of the other problems I have with these people who were like, yay, yay, cheering this death, like cheering for his death. It's like, if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. Like if you justify unaliving one person, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I misunderstood you, but here's the thing: they might offer him a plea deal, life, taking the death, just like Koberger. Koberger ended up with a plea deal. It just took a while. However, it's kind of one of those situations where, yeah. But I'm gonna get going. I wanted to do some of those people who got fired, but I think I'm gonna make shorts. I don't think I'm gonna record videos. I think I'm gonna do like, shorts or reels or that kind of stuff, because I started recording a video. I promise you I started. But every time that I start recording a video, this little one decides that she wants to be on my lap or she wants to talk over me. And I'm like, it's exhausting trying to record. She's really good with the live streams now because she's kind of used to it. When mommy turns on the computer and starts recording, I can ask her for things, but like, I'm going to go do my own stuff and play with my toys. With recording a video, she's not quite there yet, and I'm not quite there yet where I can, quickly do it. We want before and after hair photos. Well, here's the before. I will probably have it down because I'm going to wash it tomorrow. For my video tomorrow, because we do have a members only. Let me see what time it is. Now that I'm not in, I can get out of studio. Members only tomorrow is, come on. 2:30 tomorrow. So 2:30 tomorrow is a members only. Help me it's kind of an ask me anything / help me choose my continuing ed classes kind of a situation. So, thanks for what you covered. I have to go back to the very beginning, missed the first 45 minutes or so. Have a blessed day. And I will be live in about 20 minutes with Spawn to do some NTSB stuff. Now that the DC hearing, I'm not finishing the last hour of the hearing because that NTSB hearing was giving me a nightmare. But we are going to be going through the New York City, the sightseeing helicopter that crashed, and kind of reintroducing that, seeing if anything is new, searching for stuff. And I'm sure Spawn has information on that he has not shown me yet. So, do I have time for the lost pew pew story? So I wasn't with him this time. He was hunting by himself. And he was hunting out of his kayak. So, he's got all his stuff, his decoys and everything in his kayak all by himself. So apparently he is setting out his decoys. And I don't exactly remember like if he was setting out his decoys or picking up his decoys or getting a duck that he had pew-pewed. However, he reached outside of the kayak and the kayak tipped over. So there goes him in his waders now filled with water. Be it this is January, because that's when hunting season is around here. January, wet waders, and it was a thing like save the duck or save the pew pew, and he had to go for the pew pew. Because you can always get another duck. You can't really replace his prized possession. So, following the his daughter, that pew pew is probably his favorite thing on the planet. Daughter first, pew pew second. So, am I following the UAP hearings? I'm not. I have a lot of stuff. I am going to, and I said this back in the day, like a month ago, the Florida State football player who was shot when he went home to visit family after Florida State beat Alabama. I was told there were some arrests in that. Also, somebody asked me if I was covering, and I'm going to start looking into this because I'm curious. Did I hear about the 2 men that were found hanging from trees in Mississippi? Apparently, there is a history in the past decade of this happening, and the police keep ruling them as suicide. That's something that I'm going to start looking into because that is weird, and I've never heard that before. So I'm sure I'm second. I'm sure. I just have to laugh because that when he got that was like, but I was the same way when I got mine. So I have a Benelli. So I'm bougie and have a Benelli. So, you can I have a hug? So you can. Yeah, we'll play with those in a minute, okay? But anyway, I will see you guys in about 20 minutes. I have the just like cold Bluetooth and they want. Why are you hating on Coldplay? Anyway, I will see you guys in a few minutes. I have the stream set up to redirect over there. Y'all have a nice day. Hi, Mom. Hey, Nana's in the chat. What do you say? You say hi, Nana? All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye.